with this idea for this meeting in 2013. So it's been a 3-year process to getting to this point. I'm very glad to see everybody here. Of course, we're sorry that Eric isn't here. We're also missing Ellen Rothenberg, who is the other of the plan the 3 organizers initially. Ellen broke her kneecap last week, and it turns out that's not a good thing to do. Should I just use this? So Ellen sends her regrets. She would have loved to have been here, but her doctor has advised her against doing that. And Neil Shubin has stepped in Eric's place, who you all met as one of the other co-organizers. So I just wanted to, actually this is Michael's talk rather than the intro slides. I just wanted to say a few words about the meeting. This is intentionally a very broad group of people. The idea of this meeting that Eric had, how do I advance the slides here? I'm not going crazy, it's actually not here. So the idea that Eric developed initially was that we wanted to look at gene regulatory networks and network models in both development and evolution. And as most of you know, he's always had a great interest in the evolutionary side of gene regulatory networks. And this meeting was intentionally designed to include paleontologists and others looking at body plans, as well as people doing more of the experimental work. Eric, of course, wouldn't have been as reticent as my slide. He would have put it like this. Those of you who know Eric's talk, everything was in bold and in red and in large letters, as though he was shouting at you, which frequently he was. I mean, he would be sitting there shouting at me right now if he were here. This is also would have been Eric's 79th birthday today. It's sort of a coincidence that this meeting is held on what would have been his birthday. But rather than this being really a memorial meeting, I think we have to think of this as a celebratory meeting in celebrating the work that's been done to this point on gene regulatory networks and looking at how we can push forward into the future. The questions that we hope this meeting will address that we identified in the early emails to many of the speakers were to look at how large changes in body part evolution occurred at the regulatory network level, at what Eric would think of as truly as the mechanistic level, at the stability of morphological characters over deep time, how differentiation gene batteries evolve, and how we can utilize the logic of developmental GRNs to approach these sorts of problems moving into the future. So these are some of the things that we hope will come out both in the talks and then discussion over the next 2 days. We've organized this into 5 different sessions, as you've seen from the agenda, moving from evolutionary changes in body plans this morning with talks on arthropods and echinoderms, and then moving into other aspects of development. And then this afternoon and tomorrow, we'll look at nervous system and hematopoietic cell systems, and then other aspects of networks tomorrow afternoon. I also want to just call your attention briefly to the fact that we're going to have another meeting on the regulatory genome at MBL in October that Manfred Labischer from ASU and Isabel Peter and I are organizing. And we're happy to provide more information about that in the future. We're going to, at that meeting, we'll look at the regulatory genome in more detail over those 2 days. So with that, let me ask the first speaker, Michael Acom, to come up, and Neil is going to take over and lead this morning's session.